What's up everyone, welcome back. Today we have some extreme budget knives from Walmart, Home Depot, Harbor Freight, and Cabela's, and we're just going to be opening them up, talking about them today, and seeing if they can hold an edge and maybe be sharpened back up to hold an edge. We'll see if they really are not worth your money or if you can get a decent knife for a couple bucks. So starting off, we have the just generic Ozark Trail spring assisted knife here. So we'll get this out of the clamshell packaging that it came in and kind of open it up a little bit here and see what it's all about. This is aluminum handled. This is like some heavy duty packaging here. It's aluminum handled, spring assisted as well, and it's I think like 3 inches or something. So kind of that, again, small, medium size that you've got. And it has a nice little safety on the back here, which is kind of cool. That's why it was tangled up in the clip. So we have a tip up clip, which kind of sucks. I don't really use clips anyway, but tip up definitely sucks. If I'm going to use a clip, it's definitely not going to be doing that. We have this nice little safety on the back here. Appears to work. There's some rattle though, and it's a little bit grindy. But nice little action there. Not bad feeling in the hand. It is like an awkward size. Usually knives that are really small are either kind of you're not gonna be able to get all 4 fingers on them very clearly. It'll be like 3, or you'll be able to get all 4 on them clearly. But this one's kind of half hanging off the back here, so I don't know how I feel about that. It looks like it might be a hollow grind on there. Can't really tell, but again, seems to be pretty well made, especially compared to a lot of some other stuff in the past. It looks like the safety will not let it close, so gotta disengage that in order to close it. But nothing too crazy going on with this here. I think this was $7, $7 or $8. So we'll see if it came sharp. Looks like it. So actually did come pretty sharp. That's not too bad. We'll see if it can cut a little bit of rope and hold up to that. Okay, yeah. So struggling a little bit here off the bat to cut, but it's not terrible. Again, you're paying $7, so you can't really ask for a whole lot. But I definitely think that I have had, wow, yeah, it really is not one to cut. It seems sharp on the paper, but I have got knives for, $10 that are less quality than this, but definitely do come a lot sharper. They're usually what happens with these cheap knives is they'll come razor sharp out of the box and they'll just dull after you cut like a few cardboard boxes or do pretty much anything with them. So we'll see if that's the case here. Just try and cut some of this rope and see if it will cut through this paper again. I don't know. I don't think it had a steel list on the packaging. We'll look at the packaging in a second here. And see, just stainless steel blade, generic stainless steel, so nothing there, aluminum handle and spring assist. It is exactly 3 inches, and it says 4-inch handle, but it doesn't really feel like that, to be honest with you. It's, again, it's kind of got a weird in between the small and medium-sized knife. So it is what it is. I don't think this is actually a bad knife for $7. We'll see how long the action holds up. We'll see if there's no wiggle in the blade at all, which is actually pretty cool too. Usually these knives are, they don't feel that nice. We'll see after cutting rope a handful of times. Oh, the thumb stud just fell out. Okay, I don't know if that's screwed in. Let's see if it looks like it's screwed in. Or it might just be like a pin or something. Well, that's an issue. So we might be done with this one. I guess it's just like a little pin. It doesn't seem to want to screw in. So, well, that is kind of a catastrophic failure there of the thumb stud. But luckily we have a flipper tab here to deal with that instead. Okay, yeah, so there. So now we see this is not cutting paper. Where I was not cutting with the rope, it will bite a little bit better on the paper. But once you get down to where I actually was cutting, like right there, it does not want to cut through paper. So you can still kind of force it once you get the bite with the beginning of it, but Yeah, right there. You can see on the paper is frayed right there. So it is losing its edge very, very, very quickly. So kind of an issue. And the thumb stud fell off. So yeah, the thumb stud's rattling a little bit there. So I don't know how that happened. I'll have to look into that later in another video. But the flipper tab hopefully will not just randomly fall off. So we have, and there goes the thumb stud again. So we have the flipper tab, so we're good. It's got another thumb stud on the other side. So I guess if I want to use it with the left hand, I can. Pocket clip is removable, but not reversible. So there's that. And I got a lot of these because I want to try and acid etch these blades, so that's kind of why I have them. I don't really have any other reason to have them. I know there's a lot of hype going on right now with the orange bug out-esque looking knife that people are calling a bug out clone, but isn't really a bug out clone. So kind of picked up some of these just to test out the acid etching on, not really because I have any interest in them, but thought it might be helpful for some people that are buying these, just again because they don't really think having a knife that's over 10 bucks or something is worth it, but it is what it is. Next up we have the Husky brand. So this is Home Depot's brand of tools. They make all kinds of stuff. I have some of their like Torx drivers and sharpening stones from when I first started getting into this whole hobby, because they're a lot cheaper than a lot of other stuff. And the nice thing about Husky is if anything breaks, if any of their products break at all, you can immediately just take it into the store and they will hand you a new one off the shelf, which again, I think that's pretty cool that they have that great of a warranty. So we have a nice weird shaped blade here. I don't even know what to call that. I guess like I don't know. It's like a kind of reverse Tonto, but not quite. And the thumb studs are really, really tight on this. The action is really tight. There we go. So it's really, really snappy. And we do have a lock. Oh, is that why? Because it was locked before? Oh no, now it's locked. I don't know what this does. Unlocked? I don't know. I don't know what that does. But it has full liners, and this thing actually feels really sturdy. The blade has a lot of wiggle to it, though. I don't know if you can see that. Lots of wiggle in the blade. And it already does feel really, really tight. So maybe I'll have to loosen up a little bit, kind of break it in. But it's like a polymer-esque handle too. It's not G10, but it's a little textured plastic, so it doesn't really feel like your standard plastic. This also looks like a hollow grind, which means it'll probably slice pretty well. So that's kind of cool. Usually, it looks like it came pretty sharp. There is some, you can see the fraying on the copy paper there. That did come fairly sharp. Definitely not as sharp as the Ozark Trail one now. So let's see if we can get a good bite here. So it's doable. It's certainly not super dull, but it is definitely not really, really sharp. And I'll kind of strop these up at the end and see if I can get them sharper. But it is also spring assisted. So there we go. We finally got, maybe the lock was on when I kind of first had it open. And that's what was going on with it. But it is a chunky knife. It does fit in the hand. It's a little bit bigger than the Walmart one. So you have that. They're both spring assisted. I really hate spring assisted knives, so I generally don't buy them unless, you know, again, it's for something like this, or if I didn't know it was spring assisted or what. But I find the spring assist kind of be a little bit annoying at times, because sometimes I'll it's kind of harder to shut. You have to use your hand like that versus just letting it kind of swing shut. But it's not that big of a deal. Again, I don't know. I cannot figure out this locking. I guess it's supposed to, there you go. It's supposed to stop it from opening. So it didn't do that before. Okay, so that's what it is. It's a lock to keep it from opening. I don't think it holds it open though. Yeah, it doesn't hold it open. So kind of odd, doesn't really work that well, but it does feel like a well-built knife aside from the severe wiggling of the blade right there. We'll see if it really cuts through this rope at all. Because it didn't cut paper, it might take a little bit more muscle to get through this. So it might not be your best option, but we'll see if it takes an edge when I throw it on the sharpening stone for a minute. This seems to be doing a better job though at cutting the rope than the Ozark Trail, which is kind of interesting. And this one did feel a little bit sharper towards the tip on the paper. You can kind of see it was hard to get a bite towards the base of the knife, but we'll try again here. So it's fine, nothing really crazy to write home about. The clip kind of looks like it sucks, and again, it is tip up. I don't know why all these are tip up, that sucks. Nobody likes tip up. Maybe there are like 10 people in the whole world to do, but I don't know anybody that likes tip up. It's not reversible either, you can't put it anywhere, but you can take it off, which is kind of nice. So if I were using this, I'd probably take it off. But weird, funky looking shape on the pocket clip, and it's pretty long, but not a terrible knife. Next up, we'll move to Harbor Freight, who I think, somebody might have to correct me about this. I might be wrong about this, but I think they have a similar warranty to Husky, where if you break any of their tools, they will just fix them for you, or they'll like give you one off the shelf. I don't know for certain about that, but I do know that I'm pretty sure they're supposed to have a decent warranty on there. So this one also I don't think has, oh, it does have 8 CR13 MOV steels. Like that's a named steel. I forgot to check on the Home Depot one. Doesn't look like it. So usually when they don't disclose the steel, that means it's kind of just generic. There's nothing to write home about the steel, but this is a named steel. They put this on the pocket clip. I don't even know what that is. Also spring assisted, I think, liner lock. So these are all the same. This one feels a lot better. This actually feels kind of like a Kershaw. Is this spring assisted? I thought I read it was. It doesn't really feel a whole lot. Oh, maybe it's not spring assisted. Sorry, I'm completely wrong about that. I was gonna say it doesn't feel, it feels like a Kershaw flipper. Like you can't really tell it's spring assisted, but this actually feels pretty nice. It's a little bit gritty of an action, and it looks like it needs some breaking in or some oil or something, but I actually kind of like the look of this one and the feel of it in the hand. It's not too bad. We'll see if it's sharp at all. I don't know if it is. Probably in between the Husky and Ozark Trail. Oh, maybe not. Hang on. We'll try and be fair and give it a fair shot here. So it can cut. Just having trouble getting a bite there. That could be user error though with the choil at the beginning. So we'll right there. Okay, yeah, that's better. I didn't realize that it was catching the other way. So not terrible. This is probably my favorite so far. We'll see if it can cut through the stuff, but it's got like a very textured, almost reminiscent of Spyderco's G10, but I don't think it is G10 or anything. I think it's just a durable composite handle, so that's what they call it. It says ball bearing pivot, so that's probably why it feels so smooth, but the liner lock is really sticky. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of, again, you can hear it just sounds gritty. So for what it's worth, yeah, I think this is probably my favorite so far, just based on the feel of it. The Walmart one just felt sturdily built, but that safety felt like it was just gonna fall off or fall apart. Plus the thumb stud falling off was kind of bad. So not really ideal in terms of the function of the knife. This one is definitely struggling, similar to the Ozark Trail one, to cut through this rope. So I do not have high hopes for this, trying to cut through this paper again. Yeah, so that like crushed it. We'll get a new sheet of paper. I'm gonna try to be like super, I have no affiliation with any of these. It just no skin off my back. I like Harbor Freight, but I'm not gonna try and make their knife or make one of these look better than the other. I don't really care about any of them. So take it for what it's worth. It held up fine. Nothing really crazy. It dulled a little bit towards again where I was cutting right here, but still functioning. Definitely needs to be, I don't know if it needs to be like loosened up or what is going on with this, but I can hardly get this liner lock to disengage. Maybe if I put a bunch of oil in there or something, it'll fix that. This one also is going all the way through. It doesn't have liners on the back, which is, I think, oh, the Walmart one didn't have that too. I forgot to mention that with this one. So that's all the way through. This one is not, the Husky one is not. And that's nice because you can kind of just blow some compressed air through there and get all the dirt out. You don't have to really get down in to like where the blade is and get all the gunk that builds up in there. You can just spray it through. So it's easier to keep this type clean. So I generally prefer that. I feel like a lot of people generally prefer that. And finally, we have the Cabela's just generic $10 knife. I think they have these at Bass Pro Shops too. Easiest to get out of the packaging by far. Also a tip up. What is with all these tip up carries? I mean, it's kind of crazy. I think all of these are. So, the Harbor Freight one has a reversible clip, or you can kind of move it around to all 4 spots. So that's nice. Nice addition with the Harbor Freight one. The Cabela's one is a lot smaller than the other ones, and it does not have a flipper. So just is a thumb stud. 420 steel with titanium coating on it. So I don't know what that means. I've never heard of that before, but where's the length on here? Closed length, but they don't have the blade length, do they? It's probably, 3.5 inches. There we go. Overall length, 6 inches is hiding for me. So 2.5-inch blade. Actually feels pretty nice. I would definitely, again, take the pocket clip off this. It makes it just harder to hold. I think that just says China on there. So this one looks and feels probably the most well-made out of all of them. It's not gritty, really smooth to open. It's just a little small for my liking. Let me grab another piece of paper here. See if it came sharp. Looks like it did. Yeah, it looks like it. Oh, maybe not. Oh, never mind. Maybe not. You can kind of force it through, but... So this probably is actually the most dull out of any of them out of the box. At least that's what it feels like. You can get it to cut, but I really have to push instead of just dragging it along. So the edge on this one is not the greatest. We'll see if it can just cut through this stuff real quick. I am not a huge fan of smaller knives, so that is why I like being able to hold all of my fingers on the knife when I'm using it. So having one hanging off is kind of foreign to me because most of my knives don't do that. Yeah, this is really struggling to get through here too. Should mention also, this is the only one with a coated blade. So if you like coated blades, then, check this one out. But it does have Cabela's on the pocket clip there, which is kind of cool. But we'll see if I can strap all these up and we can restore the edge and get them cutting paper better. So we'll do another baseline for all these. This is Harbor Freight. Not crazy sharp. In some spots it is, some spots it isn't. Again, where I was cutting the rope, it seems to struggle a little bit and get hung up there. So we'll just strop it real quick and see if it can cut a little bit better. Another piece of paper here. Yeah, look at that. Seems to be at least a little bit better. And we only did a few passes in this drop. So yeah, so not too bad. Again, I'm sure I'll try and put an edge on all these. I don't want to extend this video too long here, but we'll see if Cabela's looks like it might have a slight recurve to the blade too there. If you can kind of see that. But that's kind of interesting. So we'll just throw this on the strap for a second and see if we can actually cut through paper this time. This one probably struggled the most. I should mention the Harbor Freight one, $10. This one, $10. Husky one, most expensive, I think 13, and the Ozark Trail with the missing thumb stud is like 7 or 8. So all within the range of $10. Okay, so that is doing a lot better than the first time. At least it feels a lot better. It's kind of struggling there. Oh, maybe the first two are a fluke. It seems to be doing a little bit better. So it looks like that one will take an edge if you kind of put some time into it. I won't, again, bore you by having to watch that. This one is so hard to open. It's just weird. I don't know why. Like, am I supposed to be pushing out? I guess, but it is a tight action. Oh, we'll do a baseline. I forgot to do that with the Cabela's one. Sorry. So yeah, this one's barely getting through there. Struggling a lot to get through the paper. It can, but it's tough. So we'll toss it on here. The blade shape on this is really funky. But it does come with those full liners, so it should be more durable, but it does not, again, feel like that at all. I don't know if you can see the wiggle on the blade here. So that is doing a lot better. Oh, I'm cutting 2 sheets of paper here, so that's making it a little bit easier probably. Whoops. Okay, so not too bad. Again, looks like it'll be able to take an edge if you strap it up a little bit. And the Walmart one, probably the sharpest one. I don't know, the Harbor Freight one was pretty sharp, but this one I have high hopes for. I think it will, you know, be able to be strapped up on here. Now, all these are, you know, not doing, oh, that is definitely the sharpest one. Look at that. Here, let me get a fresh sheet of paper. I have all this paper sitting here. Let me get a fresh sheet of paper and we'll demonstrate. This is definitely the sharpest so far we've done here. So trying to be gentle and just let it glide through the paper. It's hanging up a little bit, but yeah, that took a nice liking to the strop there. So if that had a functioning thumb stud, I would say that is probably the winner out of all these. Not actually that bad of knives, especially for 10 bucks. Not really what I was expecting. This shows that Chinese companies that are putting these out can make decent products, can make, you know, not terribly expensive products that are somewhat decently, you know, well made. Not all these have their issues. Again, the Home Depot one, get a lot of wiggle to it. Obviously the missing thumb stud. The Harbor Freight one is a little bit gritty, and the lockup is not fantastic. And the Cabela's one, you know, did not come all that sharp. See if it has any wiggle to the blade here, but yeah, that's actually a nice knife. I think out of all these, I think the Cabela's one wins just in terms of how it feels and the quality. Obviously, it's not really my favorite because it's so small, but if you're looking at just spending 10 bucks on a knife, or you're not a knife person at all and you're wanting to get a cheap knife, I think the Cabela's one is probably the way to go out of all these, but they all did fairly well. I think they all could be sharpened. Maybe I'll make a video about sharpening them up and putting a really, really nice, like, low angle edge on them to just show how well they can take an edge or something. But I really think this is kind of an interesting test. I was always curious to see, you know, the cheap Home Depot brand versus the cheap Walmart brand and so forth. There's a lot of hype going around right now with the bug out-esque Ozark Trail knife that appears to be doing fairly well. I think they actually have D2 steel on that, so this is different than just the unknown stainless steel. But a lot of people are talking about that, and it really has shown that these Chinese companies like Kaiser, Wee, Civivi, and all them make a decent product, but you know, the prices are getting jacked up with those. So Walmart has definitely humbled a lot of them and said, you know, we can do this for 10 bucks. Why can't you? So that hopefully that'll bring knife prices back in the right general direction, and we can see some change there. But I don't really have any hope for that. Kind of cool to think about though. So hopefully that we'll see where that goes. Maybe they'll release some other stuff. They'll release some Microtech Walmart knives, but that'll be kind of fun. But I don't think there's really anything wrong with these. I think if you're realistically, if you're like me and you're not out using a pocket knife every single day for work, these would probably do just fine. I like to collect knives. I like expensive knives. I think they're nice and fun and cool to use. That's just my thing. But I'm not going to pretend that these would not get the job done for me. Probably just fine. Maybe a little bit nicer ones than these, but again, realistically, these would be great. So take all that with a grain of salt. Not a very scientific test of all this stuff, but just kind of some first impressions of all these brands, and hopefully you took something away from it. If you have any questions about any of these, let me know. I'm going to be doing, probably with some of these, I'm going to try to acid etch them just so I can test it on these cheap ones and not have to ruin like a bug out or something by failing an acid etch and stone wash. But let me know if there's anything else you want to know about these or any other knives in particular. As always, check out my X or Twitter for great deals on knives that I find. I post them on there. Hit me up on there. If you have any questions, I had some people asking me about fakes and stuff. DM me if you have any questions about that. I'm happy to take a look at whatever you're looking to buy. Make sure you don't get burned by a fake. And that should do it. Thank you to those of you who subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Really looking forward to where this has gone and where it'll be going. And I think it'll be great to just continue to grow and build this community. So again, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Enjoy the rest of your evening.